The morning fog clung to the skyscrapers of downtown Chicago like a shroud. In his penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan, Daniel Carter sat motionless before the floor-to-ceiling windows, his wheelchair reflecting the cold gray light. 3 years. 3 years since the accident that stole his legs, and with them, his entire identity. You wouldn't know it to look at him now, but Daniel had been a titan, the youngest self-made billionaire in tech history. A man who built an empire before he turned 35. The business magazines used to call him the Lion of Silicon Prairie, always hunting, always conquering. Now they just called him Tragic. Mr. Carter. His assistant, James, hovered in the doorway. Your 9 a.m. cancelled. The doctor called to reschedule your dash. Don't say therapy, Daniel snapped, spinning his chair around. It's not therapy when nothing changes. James swallowed hard. They'd been through this before. The best neurologists in the world had examined Daniel. The most advanced treatments. All that money could buy. Yet every prognosis came back the same. Permanent spinal damage. No chance of recovery. Daniel wheeled past the wall of awards. Tech Innovator of the Year. Forbes 30 Under 30. The honorary doctorate from my all-gathering dust now. He paused before the only framed photo he kept. Him and Rebecca at their wedding. Before the accident. Before she left. Should I call the driver? James asked carefully. No. I'll go myself. The elevator ride down 80 floors was silent. The doorman averted his eyes as Daniel passed. Another small humiliation. Outside, autumn leaves skittered across the sidewalk as he navigated the uneven pavement toward Oak Street Park. His daily pilgrimage. The park was nearly empty at this hour. Just a few nannies with strollers and the usual homeless man sleeping on the bench near the fountain. Daniel positioned himself beneath his usual oak tree, the one with initials carved by generations of lovers. He came here every day, though he couldn't say why. Maybe to prove he could still go somewhere on his own. Maybe just to feel the wind on his face instead of the sterile penthouse air. That's when he noticed the boy. Small for his age, maybe 8 or 9, with skin the color of the oak bark and eyes that seemed too old for his face. His clothes were clean but threadbare, the knees of his pants patched with mismatched fabric. He stood perfectly still about 20 feet away, watching Daniel with an intensity that made the hairs on the back of Daniel's neck prickle. What? Daniel finally barked. You selling something? Collecting for some charity? The boy didn't flinch, just took a step closer, then another. His bare feet made no sound on the fallen leaves. When he spoke, his voice was clear and calm. You're angry because you think no one can fix you. Daniel barked out a laugh. Kid, I've had the best doctors in the world look at me. Unless you've got a medical degree from Harvard in your back pocket, I suggest you dash. But I can, the boy interrupted. If you feed me first. Daniel stared. The boy's expression didn't change. No smirk. No indication this was a joke. Just those ancient eyes looking right through him. Oh, this is rich, Daniel scoffed. Let me guess. You're some kind of child prophet. What's your angle? You want money. He reached for his wallet with exaggerated drama. Tell you what, I'll give you $1 million right now if you can heal me. Go on. Perform your miracle. The boy, Eli, though Daniel wouldn't learn his name until later, didn't react to the mention of money. He simply took another step forward. I don't need your money, he said softly. I just need you to believe. Believe what? Daniel snapped. Not in me, Eli clarified. Just that there's still something good left. Even in you. The words landed like a punch to the gut. Daniel opened his mouth to fire back, but something in the boy's gaze stopped him. There was no judgment there. No pity. Just knowing. Before Daniel could respond, Eli did something extraordinary. He reached out and placed his small, calloused hand on Daniel's knee. And Daniel felt it. Jolt. Like electricity. But warm. Alive. His breath caught a sensation flooded through limbs that had been dead for 3 years. tingling, pulsing, as if his nerves were waking up one by one. "What?" Daniel gasped, staring down at his legs. "What did you just do?" Eli withdrew his hand. "It wasn't me," he said simply. Then he turned and began to walk away. "Wait!" Daniel called after him, his voice cracking. But the boy just kept walking, disappearing around the bend in the path as silently as he'd come, leaving Daniel alone beneath the oak tree, his hands trembling on the wheelchair's armrests, staring at legs that, for the first time in years, he could almost feel again. Daniel sat frozen in his wheelchair, staring at his legs as if they might move on their own. The tingling sensation had faded, but the memory of it, the impossible feeling, lingered like a ghost. He looked around the park, half expecting to see cameras, some prankster laughing at him. But there was only the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of the city. "It wasn't me," the boy had said. Daniel's hands tightened on the wheels. He had to find him. For the next 3 days, Daniel returned to the park at dawn, scanning every bench, every tree. His assistant thought he was losing his mind. His doctors, when he called them in a frenzy, warned him about phantom sensations and psychological hope. But on the 4th morning, as dew clung to the grass, he saw him. Eli sat cross-legged beneath the same oak, chewing quietly on an apple core. When he noticed Daniel, he didn't smile, didn't react at all, just watched. Daniel wheeled closer, his voice unsteady. "What are you?" Eli tilted his head. "Hungry." Daniel exhaled sharply. "Fine. Let's go. I'll buy you breakfast." The diner was nearly empty, the smell of coffee and bacon thick in the air. Eli slid into the booth across from Daniel, his feet dangling above the floor. He ordered pancakes, eggs and orange juice, then ate in silence, wiping syrup from his chin with the back of his hand. Daniel watched him, frustration simmering. "You can't just drop a miracle on someone and walk away." Eli took a slow sip of juice. "You didn't believe me." "I felt something," Daniel admitted, voice low. "But that doesn't make sense." "Nothing makes sense anymore." Eli set down his fork. "You used to make sense of everything. That was your power. Numbers, deals, control." His dark eyes held Daniel's. "But some things can't be controlled." Daniel's chest tightened. "Who told you about me?" "No one." Eli pushed his plate aside. "But I know you fired your assistant when his son got sick. I know you ruined your partner when he trusted you. And I know your wife left because you couldn't stand to see her cry." Daniel's breath caught. "How?" "Because," Eli said softly, "the same thing that healed your legs knows your heart." A silence stretched between them. The hum of the diner faded. Daniel swallowed hard. "What do I do?" Eli slid out of the booth. "Help someone who can't help you back." That night, Daniel lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The doctor's words echoed. Permanent damage. No recovery. But he had felt something. And Eli, who was he? Some kind of angel. A hallucination. It didn't matter. Because for the first time in years, Daniel Carter wanted to try. The morning sun painted golden streaks across Daniel's penthouse floor as he gripped the arms of his wheelchair, knuckles white. For the first time in 3 years, he didn't feel like a prisoner in it. Eli's words haunted him. "Help someone who can't help you back." He picked up his phone. "James. Cancel all my meetings. I need you to find me a soup kitchen." "No, build me one." The homeless shelter on West 5th Street smelled of bleach and old bread. Daniel wheeled himself into the kitchen, ignoring the stares from volunteers. A woman with tired eyes handed him a hairnet. "You here to serve or just watch?" Daniel hesitated, then reached for a ladle. 4 hours he spooned stew into bowls, his arms aching. A man with cracked lips took his portion and muttered, "Thanks, brother." Something in Daniel's chest cracked open. That night he dreamed of standing. 1 week later, Daniel returned to Oak Street Park at dawn. His legs burned with pins and needles, a sensation he hadn't felt since the accident. Eli sat waiting on their bench. "You came back," the boy said. Daniel's voice was raw. "I fed 30 people yesterday." Eli studied him. "How did it feel?" "Terrifying." Daniel looked down at his motionless legs. "I keep thinking, what if this is all in my head?" Eli reached out, and Daniel stood. Not gracefully, not without pain, but his feet pressed into the earth, solid and real. Tears blurred his vision. "Why me?" Eli smiled for the first time. "Because you finally stopped asking that question." The ribbon-cutting ceremony made the evening news. Disgraced billionaire opens free diner for homeless. Reporters shouted questions about his miraculous recovery. Daniel just handed out sandwiches. At sunset, he stood on the rooftop garden, testing his balance. James cleared his throat. "Sir, that boy you kept mentioning, the shelter workers say." He hesitated. "There's no record of him. No one matching that description's ever stayed there." Daniel watched a sparrow land on the railing. "I know." Years later, Eli's table would grow into a city-wide network of shelters. Daniel would reconcile with his ex-wife. He'd track down his old assistant and partner to make amends. But that morning, as he took his first unassisted steps across the park, only one thing mattered. A boy with holes in his shoes had given a broken man a second chance. And Daniel finally understood. Some miracles don't happen to you. They happen through you.